Coming to you live from parts unknown. Here are two guys hanging out, chatting about life, crime, and passing time. One loves to wear his sunglasses inside. He's a connoisseur of tasteless thoughts and an avid fan of Dawson's Creek. Who isn't? And the other is a man who's always willing to one-up your story. He loves his lawn a little too much and has a closet full of white New Balance sneakers. Who doesn't? Here are Captain and Morgan.
Welcome to Captain and Morgan. I am your host, Morgan, and with me once again is our good friend, Cherry. Cherry, how's it going?
It's all good, thank you. Yes, all good. How are you?
Yeah. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's start of the week, you know. I'm ready for the weekend already.
I was going to say, don't you feel like it's like Thursday already?
Yeah, I wish it was.
This is the longest week,
I
think.
I don't know why in summer weeks always seem to be so long. Well,
Yeah.
work weeks, I should say.
Yeah, they do. And it sucks.
It does, but it doesn't matter now because it's not like, oh, it's summer, we can go to the pool or we can go to the beach because all this COVID crap. So it's like, I guess I really have, the only thing I have to look forward to is a weekend where I don't have to do anything.
And that's it's like that at the moment where you're like, yeah, it's the weekend, but I can't do anything. I can't go anywhere and I can't go into shops without having a mask on and full PPE and I just can't be bothered. So I'm going to stay at home and do nothing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we just got, like, today. So here in Columbus and a lot of the suburb cities around, we're starting to institute mandatory masks in public spaces.
Okay.
But the governor just came out today and basically made it statewide. Said, okay, yeah, if you're in a public space, you have to wear a mask. My problem is I don't know what that really entails. You know, it's like, okay, so hypothetically, if I'm walking into a store, I have to wear a mask. But once I'm in the store, is that considered a public space or is that considered private because it's private? I have no idea.
I think really, if you act like you've got the virus, one of my friends was telling me about this. If you act like you've got it and you don't want anyone else to get it, that's the best way to protect yourself from it. So you just, before you leave, stick your mask on, keep it on until you get home. Try not to touch your face, and then just sanitize as much as you can. Literally barfing and stuff.
I wear my mask basically anywhere. If I'm going out and I'm going to be around other people, I'm wearing my mask regardless. Yeah. But it's just one of those things. It's like, now do I have to wear my mask like when I'm like, you know, not just in the store or whatever. Yeah. If I'm in the park, I'm guessing if I'm in the park, I have to wear my mask.
And also, like, try keeping a mask on a kid. Try keeping masks on small children. It's just, that's not going to happen. So it's, you know, it's hard. You can't take your kids to a store because if you do and they're running around, they're never going to keep that mask on. You just have to literally gaffer tape it to their heads because it's not going to stay on. And then we got a whole heap of problems.
Yeah, exactly. We're lucky. So with my daughter, she's hadn't had a problem keeping it on. So we moved away from like the mask that go over the ears, and now she has like almost, I don't know what it is, but it basically she can wear it around her neck when she doesn't have to have it on, but then she can just pull it up. So it's like I don't want to call it a scarf, but a scarf type thing. I don't know. So she likes it and she thinks it's pretty. So I think that helps.
Oh, that's really sweet. Bless her. And what's your mask like? Is yours pretty? If you got sparkles on your mask too?
No, I have one black one. I have a red and gray one, and I have a red and blue one.
This is like a whole new fashion now, isn't it? All these masks. It's a whole new fashion of what's yours. What does yours look like?
You know what's weird? So like, you know, you always see, or like previously, you'd always see like TV shows or like news, you know, like if you're watching the news and they're talking about, you know, something going on in Japan or China, whatever, you always saw people wearing masks and you always like, oh, that's really weird. Yeah. Like, why are they always wearing masks? Well, that's us now. That's like that's that's where we are. And I
That's
think that's gonna be
normal.
our future. I don't
Yeah.
that's gonna be our normal. It's like it's wow. It's like I don't know.
They're all laughing at us now. Look at us. We're all following us now. We were cool. We were weird a couple of years ago. Now we're cool. Now we're clever.
I know.
That's what
Yeah,
it is,
we're
isn't it?
following their trends now.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it is
Yeah.
very, very weird.
Soon everyone's gonna have Hello Kitty stuff.
I was gonna ask, have you caught the new Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix?
Oh yes, I did. I watched it the other day. It's brilliant. I really like it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Now, yeah, I think it is missing
Yeah.
that creepiness that like Robert's stack brought,
Yeah.
right? But it's really good for what it is. I'm glad that each episode is one case, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting, 45, 50 minutes of one case, where on the original one, you might get one segment of 15 to 20 minutes max, maybe,
Yeah.
depending on
Yeah.
how many stories they had. So it allows them to kind of dive into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now I will say that there were some stories that were, that grabbed me a lot more than others.
Mm.
The first episode with Ray Rivera.
Yes. Have you binge watched the lot? Have you finished all of them now?
I have not seen. Oh, I haven't seen. Is it the last one? The UFO one? Which
I've only seen one.
Which
the first one.
Oh, that's the only one you saw. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I won't spoil anything for you.
Okay.
Okay. So they're all pretty good. I haven't watched the one. There's one in regards to, I think it's the Brookshire UFOs.
Ooh.
Or is that one? That one's England, right? I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know they had one over here. I didn't know they did one over here. That's good.
Yeah. So they have one there, and then there's one case that's actually in France, which is, it's basically. I'm not gonna ruin it.
Yeah, don't ruin it. Let's chat about Ray. What did you think about that one?
Oh, that one's crazy.
So I was thinking the whole way through to start with that it was kind of just like, oh, he's had enough and just jumped off of the building. But then like they find that note behind his computer. And it's like, well, where did that come from? What's that all about?
Yeah. So the note is really strange.
Yeah, really strange.
But like when they actually started breaking down like where the hole was and that above that old unused part of the hotel is like,
yeah,
how did that happen? Yeah, so I think there's two things. I mean, was it a mental breakdown? Was he having a mental breakdown and he jumped and somehow he was able to jump 40 feet out? I don't know. Or is there something else to it?
Well, the thing that it's weird, isn't it? Because when they started going through the stuff that he was diving into a lot of like Masonic stuff, and there was a lot of stuff like that he was interested in, which I thought, oh, hang on, okay, that's a bit strange. And then his mobile phone had absolutely no damage to it whatsoever, and his glasses had like no damage to them whatsoever, and they were just like placed by the hole, weren't they? Yet his flip-flops were like ripped off, and he was beaten. He was pretty badly like mashed up, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. So, okay, let's start first with your first one. His interest in the Masons, Freemasonry, Masonic Lodge. I don't want to ruin things for me, so I'm not a Mason. I had an opportunity to become a Mason at one point, which I didn't take, and it really wasn't as mysterious as I thought it would have been, or other people would have been, because basically this is how it works. If you ask questions about it, they'll give you answers, right? If you go, okay, so you guys sacrifice lambs or whatever, do you guys need blood no, there's no blood sacrifice.
No.
And anything you want to know about it is already out there.
Yeah.
Now there were steps that someone has to take before they can even be given an opportunity to join.
Okay.
I'm not sure what those steps are. Apparently I did it without even knowing.
Oh.
So I have one of my really, really good friends who is a Mason. He's been in their lodge or whatever. I think they kind of rotate who's the lodge president for a year or whatever.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So he's been president and stuff, and he's really involved, and he's really up there. And so like I would always ask him questions about it, and then eventually one day he was like, "Hey, would you be interested in joining?" And I was like, "Yeah, let me think about it." And like he gave me some information and stuff, and he invited me to one of their meetings. He's like, "Come to one of our meetings and see what it's all about." Which I ended up not going to the meeting because at that point in my life, I didn't have time for it.
Yeah.
And
it's a good commitment.
I don't. Yeah, and I don't think I could have been fully committed to it, or have enough time, put enough time and effort into making it worthwhile. So I think now when it comes to Ray, it seems like he was more interested in like the the conspiracy side of it.
Yeah,
Is
like
that
the
how you
legend
took it?
of the Masons. Yeah.
Which is probably a lot more interesting than the actual truth.
Yeah, exactly.
But so that's interesting, right? So then the other thing I found interesting is this is a guy who has no finance background, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was a writer, and so he gets a job with his buddy's place, or buddy's firm, whatever it is, and then he's writing newsletters in regards to stock opportunities.
Yeah,
that
was
makes
really
no
weird
sense to me.
No. And it just seemed really strange. Why would you have a job doing something like that when you've got no? He's a writer, but still he's got no background in that subject. So that's I thought that was really strange.
Yeah. And then once I heard when he said, "Oh yeah, he was giving like one of the last ones he did, he was giving, basically it almost sounded like it was a penny stock, or it was like a Russian stock which had tanked, but he was saying, oh, it's going to make a comeback." Anytime I hear Russian stock, I'm thinking like the Russian oligarchy or whatever, and like the Russian mob.
They've got him.
Just stay away from that. Just stay away from that.
Yeah, it's a bit scary, isn't it?
So that's strange. That's strange. I mean, even if even if it's my job to write a newsletter, I wouldn't put my name on things like that. Like, oh, here's a stock opportunity that you could make millions on, but you're probably going to lose everything on. And if I was his friend, I wouldn't put him in that position either.
No.
So that's weird. Very, very strange. His injuries strange. Yeah. So then his injuries are strange. Like his shins, right? Were like, I would say that it was almost like someone took a baseball bat to his shins.
Yeah, because they were completely smashed.
Yeah.
And also they said in the autopsy report that you wouldn't get that sort of injury from falling like that. So the injuries that he had weren't concurrent with that kind of fall either. He had extra injuries that they wouldn't have thought would have been, concurrent with that kind of fall. But the thing that I thought was strange was that to get to the hole, if you like, how they could measure it, was that you could only get to that balcony, but the ledge at the top, you could only get to that by going through somebody's room. So he would have had to have gone through one of those rooms to get onto that balcony. Mm-hmm. So whose room was he in? Surely they must know who was in those rooms at that time.
Well, yeah, okay. So that's strange too, right? So when they were actually saying, okay, this is where the roof is, and he would have had to jump this far.
Yeah.
They were measuring from the very middle of the hotel roof, which was back farther. But if you look at the hotel, it has like two sides which kind of go outward towards the area where he was.
Which would make sense for him jumping straight down.
Now, there's other thing. Then this is what. So, of course, I had to go and I had to start looking into this. So, what I found was inside the Belvedere Hotel, there is a. Now I'm gonna have to look. There's a bar which is like up on the top floor.
Yeah.
Which they didn't even mention.
No.
So now we have to look up the name. it was like, oh, it's like the owl bar. That's what it is. It's the
Okay.
owl bar.
Yeah.
And I believe if you look at where it is or see where it is, it would be, I have to pull up my map here. Fancy. It'd be to the, if you're looking at the building, so
Mhm.
you see the hole, you're looking at the building, it would be to the almost immediate right
Okay.
of where that hole would be, which would be significantly closer.
Yeah.
But I think you would still have to like, you'd have to be tossed still significantly far out
Yeah.
the window.
It's not just a slip, is it? It's a jump.
Yeah.
It's very strange when you look at it and look at the angles and I mean, obviously, I wondered whether he did actually fall through that. I wonder whether something was thrown through and whether his body was just placed in underneath, maybe, or in that room. Perhaps that maybe, like, I don't know, because the guy, the investigator that was on there said that he could fit through the hole with space either side, and whether that's just the sheer pressure of him falling through, or whether that hole was made separately and made to look like he was thrown through there, that is a possibility. I mean, the note that he left had, whether it was, I don't think it was a suicide note exactly. I think it was maybe ramblings and stuff that he was possibly not wanting people to actually find. It listed, you know, people that had died, people that he knew. It was really strange. It was really weird. Some of the things that he wrote in that note was really odd. And made no sense.
It was.
His wife said, like, it makes no sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a suicide note.
I don't think
it was
so.
rambling.
Yeah.
And I think I've been thinking about this, and I meant to look at it today. Like, everyone's like, okay, what's the code? There's a code in here. I don't know if it's necessarily a code, but it almost seems like it would be because of how he hid it. Like, why would you hide that?
And maybe
why would
it
you
makes
tape
sense
it? Like,
to someone. Maybe that those ramblings, certain things in that would make sense to somebody. Maybe that was for somebody to find, somebody specific, because he must have known that. I wonder whether he knew something was going to happen to him. Maybe it wasn't a, you know, he jumped. I mean, why there of all places? Why was that? And then they had the problems with all the alarms going off in the house and that kind of stuff. And that was really odd. That was just before he died, wasn't it? A couple of days before.
No, yeah. It was like 2 times before, like a week or 2 before.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so I'm looking at the top. I'm looking at this Belvedere Hotel right now.
Uh-huh.
He absolutely did not jump from the middle of the hotel.
Definitely not.
Guaranteed.
Just can't
no way. Is it possible that he would have jumped from the top roof on one of the other sides? Yes, but the problem I see with that is on both sides, you know, I'd probably say at least 5 or 6 feet out from the roof, there's 2, looks like smokestacks, like smokestacks or chimney stacks, right?
Yeah.
So he would have had to jump, he would have had to clear those and then fallen down, right? I'm guessing, if I had to guess, pure guess, he either jumped or was pushed from the ledge, which is below like the top, I guess, the top floor ledge. Yeah, so you kind of mentioned it. He would have had to go out a window to get to that.
Yeah.
ledge. That's the only thing that makes sense.
To me, I wonder if you were to throw somebody off of that, the way that the shape of the hole, he would have had to have gone through feet first. So if you're going to throw somebody off, they're not going to necessarily land down feet first. They're probably, if you're throwing someone out, they're going to land sort of body down, in which I think the hole would be bigger, which makes me wonder. I wonder if somebody has thrown something out, made the hole, you know, that size, and then placed him underneath, because I just can't see how he managed to get feet first. I mean, maybe he would have gone head first, but then he would have to have been in a diving position. So, you know, would he have been able to go over head first? If he threw a body off of a building, I'm guessing it's going to start to go flat rather than sort of, you know, vertically. It's going to go sort of horizontally as it falls.
It does not. It does. It actually. Okay. So if we go back to 9/11 and the World Trade Center jumpers, so what actually happens. Now, of course, World Trade Center is a lot taller than what we're talking here in the Belvedere, like significantly taller, not even close. But what they found was when the people either fell off the building or jumped off the building, they actually tumbled as they went down.
Yeah.
So rather than like you would imagine like there'd be like falling like Superman. No, they actually because of the turbulence in the air, they actually
twist, yeah.
tumble head over feet.
Yeah.
So it's very possible that they get hit feet first.
Oh.
Through a roof. Now, is he tumbling through the air as he's falling off the hotel or he's been thrown off? I'm not a physicist. I don't know. I mean, but it's possible.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say it is possible. But it's strange that either no one saw.
Yeah, and funnily enough, those cameras weren't working on the roof that night, which is also very, very suspicious.
Yeah, of course. Anytime you're like, oh, cameras weren't working that night.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
That's right.
No, that's crazy. So no one saw anything.
No.
And no one heard anything.
No.
Crashing through a roof.
Yeah.
That is going to be loud. That's going to make a significant noise.
Yeah, enough to make you at least look out the window.
Like, what was that?
Yeah.
But no one reported hearing anything.
No. And if you were staying in that hotel and you realised that there had been a body found, then that would make you think, oh, he fell through the roof. Maybe that was what we heard. Maybe we should say something.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, there's no getting away with
you
it.
Pass it off.
Yeah.
Even if you pass it off, like, oh, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Later on, when it's like, oh yeah, found a body.
Yeah.
It was, that's the hotel. Like, oh, I was there that night, and you know what? I remember I heard some weird noise.
Exactly.
But I didn't see anything. But no one, right? No one heard anything.
And he's not on any CCTV within the hotel either. There's nothing of him going in there. So it's really strange.
Okay. I know we just barely touched on this, but if you had to put your money on it, what happened to Ray?
Okay, given with just the episode that I've watched and the small bits that I've been looking at online, I think he was onto something he shouldn't be, and I think he was disposed of.
I think he was disposed of, and I think it is going to be related to his financial. I don't mean to giggle or laugh. His financial newsletter.
Yeah,
I think someone probably lost a significant amount of money.
Yeah,
was not happy about it, and got rid of him because of it.
Yeah. I definitely think I don't think it was he jumped or he did it himself. I don't think it was that. Mm-hmm. I definitely think somebody is involved in this somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we didn't even mention who called from the office, right?
Oh, yeah.
We got a call. We didn't even mention it. Who called from the office?
Exactly. So somebody's involved. Obviously, there must be somebody, but it's just why. And I wonder if they'll ever get to the bottom of this. I wonder if we'll ever find out what really I don't think we will.
I don't know. Now, apparently, on the Nerdist website today, that they they mentioned that there have been some very credible tips given to the FBI in regards to some of the cases.
Ooh, okay.
On unsolved mysteries. So hopefully, something will come out. I'm assuming Ray's going to be one of them.
Yeah.
Because I think is it episode 2 or episode 3? That's the one in France. So FBI is not going to be given anything on that. I doubt it.
I think it was episode 2. I think that was the France one because I think that's the one I started watching and then stopped halfway through.
Yeah, that one's a good one. It's tragic more than anything else.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, watch the rest. You'll like them. I'm sure.
I think I will. I'm looking forward to that one. Is the second one, the France one? Is that the lady that ended up in the lake?
No.
Oh, okay. So that's something different.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It is. It's it was about Count. What's his name? Count Xavier de Longueuil, whatever.
Oui.
I don't know. Some count.
Yeah.
Oui. Some French count
Okay.
Yeah, so
Oh,
but
I'll
it's a
let
good
you
one.
know. Yeah.
I think, like I said, the only one I haven't watched is UFO one, and that's maybe I'll watch it, but I'm not really interested in UFOs, to be honest.
No, me either. I don't know. Give me a good murder any day. UFOs, I can leave
Yeah,
those.
those are the ones. Even during like the original Unsolved Mysteries, those are the ones. Those are the episodes or the stories that I did not like.
Yeah.
I never liked those ones. I don't know.
No, I'm the same. I'm not too keen on those ones. But it's sad without him. It's not the same. It's not the same without him, and it's really sad because he was really cool. And I'm glad that they haven't got another host in to do stuff because I don't think it would be right.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they had. I can't even think of the guy's name that hosted after Robert Stack, but I can't even think of his name. I can see him. I can't think of his name. I mean, he was good, but it wasn't the same.
No, that's right.
It wasn't the same at all.
No.
This is my only complaint about it. There weren't enough episodes.
Maybe they might bring it back again. They might do, if they see how this one goes.
They need to.
They might bring it back again.
They need to.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's one of those things where I don't mind if it's, okay, we're going to release 6 episodes now. Yeah. And then next month, here's another 6 episodes.
Yeah.
But if it's a situation where like, here's 6 episodes but you're not going to get anything more for another year.
Yeah.
That's going to be painful.
Yeah, that's right. There's no,
very,
yeah,
very
you binge it and they go, oh, now I have to wait 8 months. Great. For the next one.
Bueno.
So last week also we talked about you and Captain and being back in high school, and I said that if there was anyone that used to date either of you that could give me a call and give me some gossip.
Shut up. No.
No. Does the name Jenny mean anything to you?
Yes.
Jenny? So I've had a really good chat with some of these girls from your high school. No, I'm just kidding. I'm only joking.
Oh my God.
I'm just joking. I'm only kidding. I spoke to Captain yesterday and I said, give me a name, like one of Morgan's babes from school. And he was like, you've so got to mention Jenny. So I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh my God.
I'm only joking. I'm just teasing.
I was going to kill you.
I thought I might make up some really juicy stuff and then like see how it went, but I couldn't do that to you.
She would not have anything bad to say about me.
Of course not. Of course.
Morgan was the best. No, Jenny was like my long-term high school girl.
I heard.
So, well, long-term. It was like junior, senior year.
Yeah.
A little bit, and then in college a little bit. Oh my God.
But sadly, no one came forward. No one came forward to dish the dirt on you.
Thank God.
This made me really sad. I really wanted to hear some like high school stories from other people about you two, but there's none. No one wants to dish the dirt. So I'm guessing you two were super band nerds.
Either that or we have paid off a lot of people.
Yeah. No one's
keep your mouth shut. Keep that mouth shut.
Or otherwise you're going to end up under the garage. That's what's going to happen. You're going to end up under the concrete. That's what's happened.
That's funny. That is funny.
So yeah, he helped me.
Speaking of Captain, he's doing well. Captain's doing well.
Good.
I was talking to him earlier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think people realize like how much work he actually has to do. So everyone knows like he does all the music and he does all the editing for the show. But the one thing that he didn't expect to be doing at this point, and I don't think anyone realized he's doing, is if you've noticed a lot of old episodes that are starting to pop back up. You notice like on Instagram, on the True Crime Garage Instagram, like to kind of highlight some old episodes. I think today they had up episode 2, maybe 202, 203, something like that. And it was about the BTK episodes.
Oh.
Well, what's going on is, so previously they would only have so many of their episodes that were available to listen to, and then everything else would be like on Stitcher Premium or you have to pay for or whatever.
Yeah.
And it had something to do with how their ads were working, but now they've changed it up, and so now they can put new ads on old episodes. But what that entails is he actually has to go back through every single episode. So how many episodes are there?
There's hundreds. There's hundreds of them.
Over 300, 400, something like that.
Yeah, there's loads.
So he has to go through every single episode and re-edit them.
Oh
so that
no.
the new ad format will work with all the old episodes. So while you're getting all this old content and you can go back and re-listen, he has to go back. He's going back through all these and basically
Oh,
editing every single one of them.
that is hard. And I think also until you have a go at editing a podcast, you don't realize how many hours of work goes into just making 1 hour episode. There is so much work that goes into it. You don't even realize. And that hour passes really quick when you're listening, but when you're editing, you can sometimes be there like 4, 5, 6 hours plus. Easy.
Yeah. Especially when you're with Captain. You have no idea like how long we talk. When we record, so let's say we record and we get we put out an hour episode.
Yeah.
Chances are we've talked a lot longer than an hour.
Yeah.
And so we have to cut down an hour. But then on top of that, we're talking before we start recording.
Yeah.
And then after we're recording, guess what we're doing?
Yeah.
We're still talking. So literally, if we just wanted to hit record and just record everything we talk about on that day, those episodes are going to be like 3 hours long.
And that would be great
ridiculous.
as a listener. That would be great to listen to because he is really fun to talk to, and he's such a good laugh. But it's not fun for you having to edit that down and to get it into an hour. It's not fun or easy.
No, absolutely not. No, it's not. Speaking of Captain talking, what was it? A few episodes ago, we talked about how he talked to Bill Roush on the phone for like, what do we say, 8 hours or something?
Pacing up and down. He just crazy knackered his legs up, didn't he, because of it?
Well, we did talk about this because so after our last episode before he decided the break started, that weekend he talked to Bill again.
Oh no! For how long this time?
Guess 7 hours.
Wow, how can you talk to someone on the phone for 7 hours?
Over the course of two weekends, they talked for like 15 hours.
That's crazy. About what? They must have talked about like everything. This must have gone from like birth to now.
I don't know.
Could you talk to someone for 7 hours on the phone?
No.
No. What about like going to the toilet and stuff? Did they have like pee breaks?
Maybe they went together.
Maybe they
did.
Hey,
it's time for bathroom break. Let's go.
Yeah. That's right. Still going.
That is absolutely amazing to me.
I know for a fact
and
he
I think
didn't
it was
eat
one of those
during
things.
that either. He wouldn't have eaten.
No,
he wouldn't have eaten. So that's going to have messed that up as well.
He did not. He told me. So so that night he was supposed to be coming over to my place, right?
Oh, okay.
He ended up coming over, but it was like, I think maybe it was like 7 o'clock or something. He's like, okay, hey, we're heading over or something. Like, okay, cool. And then like, okay, 7:30 passes, 8:30 passes, 9 passes. I'm like, what's going on? And then sometime between 9 and 9:30, he comes rolling up. I'm like, okay. He's like, hey, sorry, man. It's like, I just got off the phone with Bill. I've been talking to him for 8 hours, whatever it was. It's like, I was like, you told me at like 7 o'clock you were coming over. He's like, yeah, I thought we were done.
Oh.
But then we talked for another 2 hours. I'm like, Jesus. But yeah, he was like, yeah, we didn't eat or anything. So, we're just going to hang out for a little bit. And there's like, oh, yeah. So he actually did not eat that day until like, I think he left my place like a little bit after like 10:30.
Oh, wow.
So he finally ate like, 10:45 or 10:45, 11 or something crazy.
That's crazy. It's intriguing me now because I want to know what this bill is all around. So the Maura Murray case is one of those cases that I never really got into. And I know a lot of people are really into it. And there's loads of stuff, obviously, in the press about this. But it's one that I don't know why. It's just one of those ones that didn't grab me. Not like, Brian Schaefer, that one. That one's just mad. But the Maura Murray one, I never kind of got into that one so much. And so I probably wouldn't have very much to say to Bill, but I'm interested to see what those two have been talking about.
I think with her case, I think the possibilities are probably more interesting than the actual facts, what actually happened.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people are interested in it is because of how she disappeared and where she disappeared, it opens up the door for many possible scenarios.
Yeah.
If it was any other case, right, where it was like, oh yeah, okay, so she crashed her car and then her footprints went into the woods and we never saw her again, it wouldn't be as interesting to be like, okay,
No.
she probably succumbed to the elements, hypothermia, whatever, got attacked by a bear, whatever it might be, end of story.
Yeah.
But because of the circumstances, because there's no evidence that
No.
or nothing outside of like, a 20-foot area,
Yeah.
no signs of her anywhere. Yeah, it makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brian Schaefer is definitely more interesting because of where it happened. That inherently, because you're in a urban area,
Yeah.
surrounded by hundreds of people, and you just disappeared. That's, to me, a lot more interesting.
To me, that's the
But I
case
also
that I always
understand.
go back at. That's the one that I always go back to. That's the one that every few weeks, or every like month or so, I'll go back and do a little bit more and have a little bit more. A bit like you with the Golden State Killer. It's one of those ones. That's the one that really grabbed me. That I just want to know where he is. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but that's just one of those ones that really, really got me. That one.
And that's one of those cases where if you actually see where he was and where he disappeared from, not just like see it on TV or look at Google Maps, if you actually go there
Yeah.
and you see where he was, it's gonna blow your mind that the guy
Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah.
It's gonna make no sense. You're gonna look around like, how do you disappear from here?
Yeah. It's a mind blowing one, that one, and that's the one that I always go back. I've listened to True Crime Garage since the beginning, so I've listened to it for
Garage.
I know I can't
True
say
Crime Garage.
I can't say garage because
Garage.
that's really posh here. If you say garage, it doesn't sound right, but it always
Really?
makes me laugh every time I listen. And they say "Welcome to the garage." I always think it sounds really posh.
Garage.
Yeah, it's garage.
All right, you were saying, okay, so you've been listening to it.
Yeah, so I listened since day one. So I've listened to all of the cases, and still, yeah, Brian Schaefer's still the one that, and also I think
Still
the
the-
other one is the boys. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. The other one that drives Captain mad.
West Memphis
West
3?
Memphis 3. Yeah, that is another one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's another one that I always go back every so often and look at.
I don't know why that one's not solved yet. That one makes no sense to me. That one should be solved.
It should. It's
so frustrating.
It is. It's really frustrating because I think, and I feel particularly sad for the parents that lose children. That obviously they're adults, but they lose children and they die before they ever get the answer, and that always makes me really sad because I think they just want to know what's happened to their kids, and that I think that's the worst. That's the worst thing. But I'm torn between thinking Brian Schaefer is living somewhere in another country with a whole new life and him being under the concrete in the building somewhere.
He's not under concrete. Guarantee you that.
So I think
Guarantee
he's gone. I think he's gone. You don't think so?
He's in. I think if I'm placing my money on his remains are deep inside of a trash dump.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, we have to have a whole chat about this.
I think, yeah. My feeling is he ended up in a dumpster that night, and his body was taken to a local trash dump.
Yeah,
and that's where he is.
I think he's got away. I think he's gone somewhere.
See, you like that romantic idea of him living on some beach, living his best life.
I don't think it's like that. I think that the life he had, from what I've been looking at, I think the life he had wasn't the life he wanted, and I think he has orchestrated that he has gone and he has started somewhere else, and he is a totally different person in a totally different place.
He is a totally different person in a different place because he is bone underneath trash.
We'll see when this gets solved and he's living it up in Italy as a doctor in the hospital somewhere. And then I say to you, look,
I will apologize
and buy me chocolate. I will apologize
to Brian Schaefer.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm sorry, Brian. I thought you were bones underneath a pile of trash
in a trash dump. Okay, deal.
So we didn't get to this last week, and this is something we've talked about, and I think we should talk about this because this is something that really hasn't. isn't being talked a lot outside of a very small circle. And so when we talk true crime, a lot of times true crime podcasts, they're talking about disappearances, they're talking about murders, right? But we have a whole lot of other crime that occurs on a daily basis that really doesn't get publicized. So I mentioned this to you a few weeks ago, and you found it interesting.
Yeah.
And so I figured, let's talk about this and let other people hear. So in the world of professional wrestling, now don't laugh. Don't laugh. In the world of professional wrestling, there is a movement going on. It's a hashtag movement. It's hashtag speaking out, which is basically a movement that has brought forth accusations of abuse within professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Most of it involves either female wrestlers, female fans, but also there are some male wrestlers who have also been speaking out as well. So as of now, there's probably at least 40 wrestlers or organizations that have been accused of either sexual assault, sexual harassment, or physical abuse.
And in England, over here, we've got over 70 wrestlers currently being investigated.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How many?
Over 70. In Yorkshire, I read, over 70 wrestlers are being investigated with this hashtag speaking out movement.
Yeah, so it did start in England.
Yeah.
And it's most of it involves independent wrestling. That's not to say that there aren't wrestlers who are in WWE or one of the larger national or worldwide promotions, whatever you want to call it, that are involved. But a lot of it involves independent wrestlers. And for those that don't know what the word independent wrestler means, those are basically wrestlers that they're not under contract with one organization. They travel from city to city. A lot of times they're wrestling for very little money. And then when it comes to women within this independent wrestling world, they are exposed to, I think they're exposed to this abuse a lot more often, or it's easier to see how it happens.
Well, because it started with this guy called David Starr, who's an American wrestler who actually wrestles here in the UK, and he was accused of sexual assault by his ex-girlfriend. That's how this whole thing started. Now, everything within this he's now been stripped of his titles. He's been fired. He's off Twitter. He's off social media. He's totally denied everything and saying that it didn't happen. And I think from when I was younger, watching wrestling, which was then WWF, which was like, British Bulldog, The Rock, Jake the Snake, Hulk Hogan, those kind of people. That's the kind of wrestling I remember. And it's very American. But for here, we have I think it's something to do with WWE, that they've got this NXT UK, which is like a stepping stone for English wrestlers to perhaps get into WWE at some point. And I think that's where we've got a lot of problems at the moment within this kind of circle of this NXT or Next or whatever it's called UK.
So that was a huge issue, of course, for WWE.
Yeah.
Because you would think that they would have some sort of training, like, hey, this is your do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge corporation. It's a publicly traded company. So that's a huge issue for the company. Now, is it David Starr? I'm trying to remember. So David Starr, it was his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Was he the one who claimed it was quote unquote gray rape?
Yeah, well, there was a video. A girl posted a video of him and a referee called Joel Allen, and another wrestler called I think he's called Big Grizz or something like that, Big Gaz or something like that.
Big Grizz,
yeah, I think something like that. Yeah. And basically, they were. I don't know, they're saying it was banter and it was lads chat, but they were basically saying that, and they were asking these younger girls for videos of themselves, and basically calling it that. And there was a lot of homophobic stuff going on, but they did say that it was just lads banter. That's how they've described it, as lads getting together and being a bit silly. But
and I don't know a lot about this David Starr guy, so I was kind of looking it up, and I guess
yeah,
so as a wrestler, you always have your gimmick, right? So your
Yeah.
persona that you're playing.
yeah,
And apparently, like, his persona was he was supposed to be this woke wrestler, right? That was very liberal and like he was a feminist, but everything that you learn about himself and who he is completely opposite from this gimmick that he's trying to portray.
yeah.
So he's pretty much a piece of crap. If I'm, let's be honest.
But when I first saw the picture of him, I was like, whoa, he's hot. Who's that? And then read it and was like, oh, no, he's horrible. Not a nice man. That's really bad. But you can see how,
No.
what, I'm not saying that this is what's happened, but what, to some people, wrestling as watching is life. It's all real, and they forget that it's entertainment. It's an entertainment industry. It's not real life, and but to them it is. And you get certain people that will try and befriend wrestlers or try and be part of wrestlers or try and sleep with them. It's all mixed in with the whole Hollywood kind of famous people. Some people are like that. And I would imagine it's I don't know, you get caught up with something like this where that video is being placed between him and these girls, and this has now come back to bite him in the ass because it's now been put online and it's gone viral, and everyone's going, well, mate, your behavior is not appropriate. You can't behave like that. And now it's all gone crazy.
Yeah. So so this is the one we talked about too. So there's a wrestler whose name is Marty Scurll.
Yeah.
Who, he's well known. I mean, I know he's wrestled in Japan. He's wrestling for a promotion here in the United States now. I believe. I think it's Ring of Honor.
That's
ROH.
right. Yeah, he's signed to them now.
But he also does. He does events. He's from England, and he does events in England. And so he was accused by a woman on Twitter that he was sexually inappropriate with her when she was 16 years old.
That's right.
All
yeah.
Right? So the story goes. So I've heard two things. I know that her dad was a wrestling referee. But she was a regular, then also eventually was hired to work for an English promotion called IPW.
Okay.
Which was it was owned by a gentleman by the name of Daniel Elder. So she was 16 years old. She was working for this wrestling company. I don't know what she did for the wrestling company, but she was working for it.
Yeah.
So this Daniel Elder would often buy her drinks after shows. And a lot of times she would end up drinking to the point where she was incredibly drunk. So in her accusation is after one event, she had bumped into Marty outside of the venue after they had been drinking. And it's alleged that Marty had said to her, let's go back to the hotel and fuck. Ooh. Sorry. Excuse the language. This is what she said. All right.
That's what he said. Yeah.
She told her friends that she would, and then she told her friends that she was going with Marty, right? So she said, I'm going with Marty. The friend wouldn't give her the keys to go to the hotel with Marty. So I guess she was staying with a friend.
Yeah.
Shared a hotel room.
Yeah.
Friend wouldn't give her keys to go back with them, but
good friend.
Because she thought it was a bad idea. Great friend.
Good friend. Yeah.
But then Marty and the girl still went back to the hotel, even though he didn't know that she didn't have a key to get into the room. So they ended up finding
was it cupboard? Like a closet?
Yeah, like a closet. Like a janitor's closet or something.
Oh, God. Classy.
Where they, so there was some sexual stuff that occurred at this. Once again, remember, she was 16 years old.
Yeah.
16 years old.
What's the age of consent there?
In England?
Where you are. No, where you are. What's the age of consent there?
In Ohio, I think it's 16 in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
But here's the thing. Age of consent. Yeah, there's age of consent. But when he was probably 28 maybe?
Oh, totally scumbag if that's what really happened.
Yeah. So there's age of consent, but there's also there shouldn't be something called age of don't be a dumbass. I don't know what you want to call it.
That's
It's
right.
like
morals. That's what it's
16
called. Morals.
You have to have moral compass, right?
You do.
To say
You're a
she's
child.
16.
That's
this
right.
is wrong, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so in the end, while she also alleges that she had been raped by Daniel Elder before that point, her friend showed up and stopped them from doing anything. So once again, great friend.
Yeah.
So this is okay. So we can say for a fact that if you're looking legally, age of consent 16. What he did was if it's two people, it's not illegal.
No, it's not illegal.
However, we're talking a 16-year-old who's drunk.
Yeah.
And then you have a 28-year-old.
Yeah.
So
it's just not right, is it? It's not right.
It's not right. No.
It's not right. It's not right.
So I feel like, okay, first off, why is a 16-year-old working for a wrestling company? So in the wrestling companies taking them around, they have her up in a hotel room. So this isn't, hey, I'm going to go down to the local union hall or whatever they have wrestling, and I'm going to go and help out. We're traveling around the country, staying in hotels, putting on shows.
Yeah, that's right.
At the age of 16.
Exactly. And so she's she's underage, because here you're not an adult till you're 18. No drinking till you're 18 legally. So one, it's illegal to give her drinks. So he has acted, illegally. And two, she's got no parental person. There's nobody there with a parental guidance with her. And if I've got a teenage daughter, and for her to start her first job, I had to fill in all sorts of paperwork with the council because she was under 16 when she started her job. And it was so strict of, you can only work so many hours, without a break. And so I'm really surprised that this happened like this. And that also other adults that are drinking with him and other adults that are working there are seeing this going on, knowing she's 16 and not saying anything. Surely, if my friends, I'm over 28, only just, but I'm over 28. But if one of my friends is like, there's a 16-year-old guy, I'm going to buy him a drink, I'm going to flirt with him, I'd be like, what? You weirdo. He's a child. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
So why aren't his friends saying to him, guy, you're an idiot. She's a baby, what are you doing?
You have to be smarter than that, and it's a bad look. And here's the thing, right? So if he does this with one 16-year-old, I'm not saying that he's a predator.
No,
but I'm sure that there's other things that have happened similar to this, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like with a lot of these wrestlers, there's these, I don't want to call them groupies. I don't know what to call them.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
These female friends that want to be there, right? They're so used to like just going, okay, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
If you're going to someone like, hey, let's go to the hotel and fuck.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have you're expecting it, right?
Yeah. That's right. Exactly. If that's what he said, that's what's going to happen. So she would have known that that's the plan. And so then, but then obviously she's drunk, and that can throw things out. But it's hard, isn't it? Because as with any sort of famous or any sort of any person that's in the public eye, surely you would think to yourself, I don't want to get myself into this situation, because if this comes out, I'm going to possibly lose everything and be branded a scumbag all over the place. So why would you even put yourself in that position?
Exactly. No, exactly.
You just wouldn't, would you?
Here's the other thing too. This is a crazy story, right? So on the other side of the coin is why people haven't spoken out previously, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you read anything about Will Ospreay, who once again is another British wrestler from England.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like we're all so bad. I
I
apologize
know,
for
you're
Britain.
not.
I'm sorry.
He wrestles in Japan for New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is probably like the second largest wrestling promotion in the world.
Did you just say nude? As in, like, naked?
New.
Oh,
New.
okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, wow, I've not seen
naked
this.
wrestling.
Okay.
Come to
That's a whole new
Naked
show.
Japan Wrestling. No. You can only watch that on
pay-per-view.
Playboy channel or something.
Or
adult theaters. No. So there's another female British wrestler who goes by the name Pollyanna, who at one point had basically came forward and said she was sexually assaulted by another wrestler.
Oh.
Well, this Will Ospreay is friends of the guy that she accused. And so because of his I'll say power, because of his power within professional wrestling and his popularity and how much everything is about draw. Like, how many people can you draw to pay a ticket to come watch you wrestle? Well,
like
he is
boxing.
a big draw.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He shows up and people want to see him. Well, he was scheduled to wrestle a independent show in England. And before the show, he went to the owner and said, "Hey, you can't have Pollyanna wrestle. She cannot be on the show because her presence made him feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Even though she was sexually assaulted by his friend, her presence made him uncomfortable.
Oh.
So what did the owner do? The owner went and said, "Pollyanna, see ya. We'll cancel you from all of our events. We're not going to hire you again."
And she did nothing wrong.
She did absolutely nothing wrong. But because she accused the quote unquote wrong person, she gets basically set aside.
So this was also a case with another female professional wrestler called Kelly Klein, and she's from Cincinnati. She wrestles over here, and she's gone now publicly with this hashtag speaking out, and said that she was raped by a well-known wrestler when she was 18, and this is like a household name wrestler that most people will know. And she said that every time she spoke up about it, she was basically silenced back down. And, it was the same thing with the Pollyanna Peppers, in that it was going to harm her career. She's won like 3 times world champion of the Women of Honor. That she's a big name in wrestling, female wrestling. But she's had the same thing, that if every time she's tried to speak out about it, this has happened, and it's been sort of like, well, basically, if you carry on, that's the end of your career and off you go. But she's still speaking out about it now.
It's wrong, because these are women who have worked so hard to do what they want to do, right? Yeah, it might not be your normal career path. It might not be a normal job, but it's something that they wanted. They wanted so badly.
Yeah.
And then they're getting basically punished for being assaulted. It's wrong. It's wrong on so many levels. I will say that at least the owner that removed Pollyanna from all the events actually admitted to the mistake, and gave her the biggest sincere apology, and told Will Ospreay to go fuck himself, because his apology wasn't even an apology when he released something. Does it make up for what they did? No. Because when that stuff happens and you're not getting booked and you're not getting paid, you have to move on. That's right. And you lose something that you absolutely love because of politics, some bullshit male politics, right?
And I think I think this whole boys club thing has happened. It goes back as to like year dot. I think it's something it's always been, if you've, obviously you're not a woman, I was going to say if you've ever been a woman, but you haven't, but if you've ever worked for a company that is mostly males, you do feel like that you are a little bit under pressure to perform like the men, and that you're not going to be accepted like them, because you're not a man in a man's world. You are a woman fighting in a man's world. And it would be the same the other way around. If there was a guy working in a predominantly female environment, he would probably have the same the same problems that you're having. And with this kind of like sexual the whole culture now of everything, where everybody's speaking out about everything. I think it's, with the Black Lives Matter and everything that's going on, there are some sides to it that take it to the extreme, and it's kind of pushing away the focus of what this actually is about. And I think you have, obviously, in the wrestling industry, and probably, to be honest, in the podcast industry, if you were to go to somewhere like CrimeCon and you go to see the podcasters that you listen to, and you feel like you know them because they're there in your ears weekly, and you get to know about them and their families and things that they bring out to you, you kind of feel very familiar with them. And then as a podcaster, you kind of want your listeners to feel like that with you. But there's a fine line between being somebody's friend and being professional. And with this kind of industry, with the wrestling industry, that fine line seems to be blurred quite a lot between fan and professional wrestler. And then you've got the whole other subject of wrestlers, with other wrestlers and being attacked and sexually abused, and they're going to parties together, they're getting drunk together, and then this is happening and that's happening, and it's, whoa, that wasn't supposed to happen. And it's an absolute minefield of just craziness. It's just crazy.
It absolutely is. One other one I want to mention real quick, and this is also kind of points out, I don't want to say the dangers of speaking out, because I don't want anyone to think that you should never speak out. But sometimes there have been people that have been accused where the story is completely different from actual reality.
Yeah, and that can ruin someone's life.
Absolutely. So this is in regards to Trent Seven, who is once again a English wrestler. He is with the WWE now.
That's right. He is.
I think this is prior to him being with WWE.
Yeah, this is back in the day.
This was back in the day. So this is during WrestleMania weekend years ago. Mm-hmm. He was doing a show for a company called Progress. And after the show, he was at a bar drinking with 3 girls.
That's right, yeah.
So a 4th girl saw him drinking and talking to the girls, and believed, or basically, okay, so she claimed that they were underage and not interested in Trent Seven, but he kept trying to pursue them. So she ended up inserting herself into the situation, and later that night ended up having sex with Trent Seven. He told her, don't tell anyone, because he would hurt himself, because he was in a committed relationship at that point.
Oh.
So it sounds like, okay, Trent Seven was trying to hook up with some underage girls. She jumps in, bites a bullet for them, and then now is making the accusations. Well, it turns out after she put this out on Twitter, one of those 3 girls actually responded.
Yep.
And said, "Hey, we weren't underage. We were all, between the ages of 18 and 21."
That's right. Yeah, one was 18, one was 20, and one was like 23 or something like that.
Yeah. They're like, we all knew what was going on. Yeah, we were all trying to hook up with them. So she ends up putting herself in a situation, and give her credit. She saw a situation in which she thought some underage girls were in danger, and so she did what she thought she had to do.
Yeah.
But in that situation, she didn't know the actual story. She didn't know all the facts. And so then she's putting it out like, hey, he's trying to get with these underage girls, and he's a scumbag, yada, yada, yada. That could have absolutely ruined his career.
Yeah, definitely.
For something that, okay, maybe he I don't know. I wasn't there. He could have been scummy at the bar. Maybe. But what he did nothing. He did absolutely nothing wrong. And even with her, the girl that he ended up sleeping with at night, that sounds like that is a situation where they were both consenting adults. If she willingly went and slept with him, there's no sexual assault, no sexual abuse there, right?
That's right. And that girl that you were talking about, she actually said we were flirting with him. We were there. We were quite openly flirting with him. We were trying to hook up with him. And the only weird thing, aside from being in your 30s and flirting with a 19 and 20-year-old, is that he kept asking how old they all were. And he asked everybody in the group how old they were. So I think looking at it from that age, he's obviously going, okay, how old are you? How old are you? How old are you? So he can make it a bit better that they're not underage girls. But girls lie. Why would you put yourself in that situation?
Yeah. No, yeah. That's still dangerous. Like, how old are you? I'm 18. Okay, yeah. Next thing you know, 15. Yeah. So even
Exactly.
saying how old you are, yeah. I mean, I see it as a,
because
as a
even if
way
they
to
said,
kind of protect yourself.
yeah, but it's a bit stupid on his part, because I've a lot of if you look at girls now, it's probably the same as back in the 80s, 90s. We've all done it. We've all dressed up. We've all gone to a club and said we're 18 when we're not, or we've borrowed like someone's sister's driving license or something and gone in with using fake ID or whatever. But girls now, I don't think they even need the fake IDs. 15-year-old girls now, I would think quite a lot of them could pass easily for 18, like easily, without
You
even.
think so?
Definitely.
You think?
Definitely. I'll
I
send
don't
you.
know. I don't know.
I will send you some pictures, and I'm going to do a comparison and ask you how old are these people and see what you think. And I guarantee you, these will be girls that I know. I guarantee you will not believe how old they are.
Varying ages, right? You're gonna do varying ages.
I'm going to do varying ages, and I'm going to send them to you.
Okay.
And see what you say. And you tell me which ones are underage and which ones are not. And I'll send them over to you tomorrow so that you can see.
Okay.
And we'll see how you get on.
Okay.
I think you'll
Deal.
fail. I think you'll fail miserably.
That's a deal.
Deal.
We'll find out.
Okay. Next
Deal.
week.
Do it.
Next
We'll
week
do it.
we'll just update you next week on how he did. He's gonna fail.
No, it's definitely gonna be interesting. I will pass.
Okay, we'll see.
Pass.
Okay, we'll see. You're not allowed to like investigate. Literally on first impression.
No investigation.
Yeah, no investigation.
First impressions. I will not. No investigation.
Okay.
I will look and I'll say.
Okay.
Either overage or underage.
Yep, definitely.
That's
okay, I'll send you some and you can see.
All right, deal. So I don't know. I don't know where we go from this as a society. I mean, as a society, where we go from this is, hey guys, stop doing this shit.
Yeah, basically.
That's the easy answer.
Yeah.
I don't know within a wrestling community what the wrestling community does to prevent this going forward, because once again, we're not talking about the WWE. Well, we are kind of talking about the WWE, but a lot of them is, once again, going back to the independent wrestlers, where they're not even like independent contractors. They're just really working show by show.
Yeah.
So what I don't know what they need to do to prevent this from happening again.
I think there's got to be like some sort of rules in place. There's got to be some sort of behavioural rules in place. And if people break those rules, then they're out. I think it's just like as simple as that. If you're going to have behaviour like that, that's going to bring disrepute to the industry, then they don't want you there. You know, do you remember there were bad boys back in the day? There were the ones that everybody loved, and there were the ones that, were the bad ones. And that's great as an on-air or an on-show persona, but it's a job. Leave that job in the ring and go home and behave. That's all you need to do.
I think one thing that they can do when it comes to wrestlers, right? So female wrestlers, male wrestlers is one thing that they have not done, and they do poorly on is, there's a lot of times when they are on the road. So if someone is doing shows with one organization, they're traveling around, a lot of times they'll just put, a male wrestler and a female wrestler in the same room, and they say, okay, you guys are rooming together. Hey, let's not do that. Yeah. Or it's like, hey, you two have to travel. So you need to make sure that you're not putting the female wrestlers in positions where they could be assaulted, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that you see, and a lot of the accusations involves a lot of new female wrestlers that are just getting into it, where the male trainers or the owners of these wrestling promotions are using that that power to persuade them into getting into sexual relationships with them. So I think the only thing you do for that is get rid of these scummy guys, right?
Yeah.
Or I understand that not every wrestling school is going to be able to hire a female trainer, but if you can, do it and make sure that at least someone's there to watch over them.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're adults and they have the ability to protect themselves, but sometimes that's not enough.
No.
Especially when there's such a disparity when it comes to power, when it comes to, especially in wrestling, right? If you want to make it to WWE, if you want to be a star in wrestling,
you got to do this.
You have to play it. You have to play by the rules.
That's right. You got to play the game.
The rules need to change. Yeah, you have to play the game, but the game has to change. The rules have to change.
Yeah. But is that going to happen? Do you really think that there's not going to be this kind of like back? I don't know, this like, this hierarchy where that's just how it is. Like you said earlier, like the big boys club. I mean, is it going to change? Are people really going to? Is this going to be one of those things that's going to blow over and everyone's going to forget about it, or is this going to blow things wide open?
I'm worried that it's going to blow over.
I'm worried,
and I feel like it already starting to, because you have seen this in other, with the Me Too movement. You've seen it kind of get passed by with, of course, Corona, with Black Lives Movement. Not that those aren't important issues,
of course, no.
Because here's the thing: just a few weeks ago, a comedian, Chris D'Elia, was accused of texting inappropriately to underage girls. Right? Have you heard anything about it? No,
nothing.
I mean, yeah. So things like this, and this is why we're talking about it, right? Because this is something that could easily be blown over.
Yeah.
And no one hears about. We don't have the answers of how to solve this, but we can at least lend our voice to it.
That's right. And if people are more aware,
let people know what's going on.
Yeah, that's right. It's hard.
And I know our listeners are probably not the biggest wrestling fans. They're probably not sitting around watching WWE.
I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know, but
it's the principle, isn't it? It's the principle of it, regardless of what the actual entertainment part of it is. It's the principle in general of this whole thing.
If this was occurring in any other entertainment space, if this was
Hollywood,
right?
Exactly.
If this was in Hollywood, if this was in the music industry, it'd be a huge story.
It would,
right?
Yeah,
because that's considered, A-list celebrities or whatever, right?
Mainstream.
So that's but because this is wrestling, and I think a lot of it's happening in England, even though it's not just England. Besides the fact that everyone we mentioned was from England, except for David.
Mostly,
Starr. Yeah. This is an industry that is looked down upon, but we should not be looking down upon these issues.
Do you know something
and we should
else
not be looking down upon these women.
Something else that I read about the women in wrestling, which I was like, got me, oh my God, in at the screen, was that the way that they dress when they're wrestling. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but male wrestlers wrestle, one, with no tops on usually, and two, in like skin tight lycra, hugging pants. And they were saying that
or little Speedo looking things,
exactly.
Right?
And so they were saying that the women, because they were provocatively dressed, that was, and I was like, you are joking. When you look at a male wrestler and a female wrestler, they're pretty much dressed the same, but because she's female, she deserves it? No, I don't think so. If you were to go up and grab a guy like that, it would be just as bad. It's just, I don't know. I just think it's crazy that
what they're wearing wrestling, that does not mean that, okay, if they're dressing provocatively, does not mean that they're provocative in real life.
No, that's right. It's a uniform, isn't it? It's
a
part
uniform,
of the show,
or it's a character, or it's who they're portraying.
That's right.
So it's wrong on so many levels.
It is. It really is.
I don't know. I hope it doesn't get passed over. I hope we don't hear these stories, or the amount of stories. I hope things get better. I'm worried it's not.
And I hope that the people that have actually done something wrong and that have been accused of stuff, and it is true and they have done it, I hope that there's some justice for those people that have suffered that, because that's an awful thing to have happen to you, and it's something that will stay with you for the rest of your life, regardless of the face that you put on. That must be a horrendous thing to live with, and quite a frightening thing to live with. And to have nobody believe you because the person that you're accusing is some big star that would never do something like that, that also must be really hard. So I hope that the people that actually did do what they've been accused of, I hope that they get, they get their comeuppance on that.
Absolutely. Some have, and some are feeling the consequences.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them are still kind of, getting away with it.
I think they're probably contacting their lawyers and saying, whoa, how am I going to get myself out of this? Because if this comes out now with social media the way it is this day and age, and everybody having a camera in their pocket, people in that sort of position really ought to think about the way they act, because it's not going to be long before you are snapped and then it's all over Twitter and Facebook and stuff.
Yep, definitely. Oh, I don't care. Listen, I don't care. I love wrestling. I still watch wrestling.
Do you?
Not like religiously. So I have a group of friends that we get together and like we will watch like the big pay-per-views.
No
and
way.
Like it was like, oh, like one's actually a judge, two of them are lawyers. Yeah, so these are like like it's like, okay,
grown-ups.
Like we're grown-ups with a grown-up job, like important grown-up jobs. Like one's a public defender, the other one's actually a private attorney, and then the Franklin County judge. Yeah, so it's like we'll get together, and we do so because we get to feel like kids for a little bit, right?
Yeah, every Saturday I used to watch wrestling. Every Saturday I used to watch it when I was a kid.
It was the best.
And if you Google now the wrestlers from when we were kids, because we've got birthdays very close to each other, you and I are in very close together, so in age we're really close. And if you go back and Google who was the wrestler you loved when you were a kid? The WWE, like WWF at the time. Who was the ones that you really loved?
My favorite one was Roddy Piper.
Oh, I love it with the kill.
Roddy Piper.
I loved him.
Yeah.
I loved him.
So me and my best friend growing up, not Captain, the other best friend.
Okay.
Chris, we would always like pretend wrestling, and he would always be Macho Man.
Oh,
I would always
Randy Savage.
I would always be Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now see, when I was growing up, my brother and I used to watch wrestling every Saturday, and he used to have like the WWF ring and the little figures and everything, and we used to absolutely love it. And my brother's favorite was the Ultimate Warrior. And do you remember he used to run in and shake the things, and he used to like scream. My brother used to tie tassels to he's going to kill me for this. Tie tassels to his arms, and then we used to put like makeup on his face to do the lines, and he used to come in and like pretend he was him. But for me, my favorite.
Yeah.
All childhood memories coming back. I used to really love The Undertaker. He was my favorite. And he's like still around. Like not dead. I thought he'd be gone by now, but
he's still around.
Still around. And
So I remember. So there was wrestling on Saturday, but there also would be wrestling on Sunday. And it would be like on USA Network, like at 11 a.m. So our church I went to, good Catholic. I was raised a good Catholic boy. St. Leo's, right down the street from us.
What happened?
So every day after church, right, we would get up, and because we were so close, I didn't have to wait for my mom or siblings or everything. Because everyone has to sit around. They had to check it. I would sprint home down the alley to my house to get inside to watch wrestling. And because I also knew that once my mom went home and she saw wrestling going on, she'd be like, "Turn that garbage off."
Oh.
Yeah, but absolutely loved it.
I loved it. My mum used to like Ravishing Rick Rude. That was her favourite. I wonder why.
Of course.
But there's so many. Do you remember the Bushwhackers? Do you remember those two?
Remember the Bushwhackers?
Oh, I loved. And then the whole Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan fighting over Miss Elizabeth. That was like traumatic in my child life.
Oh my God. The best is when Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth got back together.
Yeah.
And then they got married.
Oh, and then the Hulk there. Do you remember when he used to get really mad and he used to like puff his cheeks out and then he'd just rip his top open and everyone would be like, "Yeah, go Hulk." He's going to open a can of whoop ass on him. It was and he'd get up on but then it ruined it for me. Like when they put the cage in and they'd have the cage and then it'd all be like you'd be there and he'd be like nearly dead on the floor, and then all of a sudden you'd see his cheeks and you'd be like, oh my God, here he comes.
He's hawking up.
Here he comes. That was entertainment. Prime time, solid gold entertainment.
Stuff.
It was brilliant.
Loved it.
Brilliant.
Oh God, loved it. Oh geez, we could talk forever about old time wrestling.
I could talk to you all day about it. I love it.
Well, I think that's our show for today. Sherry, once again, thank you for joining, and I think I'm just gonna keep bringing you back until Captain's done with his siesta.
I'm gonna be the break. I'll fill in for him while he's on his break, and then we'll,
that sounds good to me.
Yeah, and then we'll unleash him back onto the world while he's nice and fresh again. Bless him.
Bless him. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed us talking a little wrestling, a little unsolved mysteries, whatever else we talked about. Thank God Jenny actually didn't reach out to you.
No, she didn't. Though Claire did. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, no.
Not Claire.
If you want to follow us on social media or see where else you can see us, just wait for Cherry. She'll tell you at the end of this at the very end of the episode. Yeah. Thanks for listening, and as always, try to do better. Try to be better people. Try not to sexually abuse people or sexually harass or physically abuse people. Just don't be a piece of shit.
Just be nice. Just be nice. That's all you need to be.
Just be nice.
Thanks for listening to Captain and Morgan. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. You can follow Captain and Morgan on Instagram @TheCaptain&Morgan, or you can visit their website at captainandmorgan.com.